A great part of vegetable gardening is enjoying the resulting produce. In this video, we will cover best practices of harvesting your produce so that you can prevent foodborne illness and preserve the overall quality and freshness. First, we will begin with some general hygiene practices. Before you head into the garden for harvesting, make sure you wash your hands thoroughly. Avoid harvesting if you've been feeling ill, giving yourself at least 24 hours after any serious illness before working in the garden. And if using any tools, make sure they are clean and ready for use. When you are harvesting your vegetables, remove as much of the soil as you can while in the garden. Many of the vegetables will need to be cleaned prior to eating, so remove as much of the soil as you can first. You can remove any non-edible plant parts, such as the greens on carrots, and toss them into your compost pile. Make sure you clean any harvested vegetables in fresh, potable water in a clean bucket or sink. Wash root vegetables before storing in your fridge for fresh eating, unless you plan to keep them in long-term winter storage. Vegetables that have had less contact with the soil, such as tomatoes, green beans, peppers, and eggplants, likely do not have to be washed or rinsed until eating. Those that may have grown on the ground, such as cucumbers, squash, and melons, should be washed or wiped clean before storage. Rinse grittiness from leafy greens just before eating to preserve freshness, as well as herbs and berries. For more information on how to practice hygienic harvesting and cleaning techniques, check out the Good Agricultural Practices video link within this module. When it comes to the fruit, remember that bigger is not always better. Many vegetables reach peak before the fruit is fully mature. You'll need to pay attention to subtle clues to know when it is the best time to pick, and take some time to learn more about your plant. For example, did you know that cucumbers are best eaten before the seeds are mature? Cucumbers with mature seeds will start to turn yellow or orange and grow rather large. In the process, the cucumbers lose a lot of the flavor and texture that makes them enjoyable. What about leafy vegetables? You can tell a lot by tasting a leaf. After washing a few harvested leaves, taste test to see what you think. If tasty enough for a harvest, make sure you remove no more than 1/3 of the plant's mass at one time. Furthermore, while most leafy greens can be eaten when small and as sprouts, you will likely want to wait until the plant can handle a harvest and still keep growing. Pay attention to the days to harvest listed with the plant variety to know when your leafy greens could be ready. Vegetables that produce one harvest, such as head lettuce, cabbage, and broccoli, can be a bit trickier to know when to harvest. Pay attention to what your varieties suggest as days to harvest and final size. Sometimes you may have to harvest based on the weather, like warming temperatures for an early spring head lettuce or a deep frost for a late cabbage crop. Some vegetables will keep growing long after the first harvest. Leafy greens like spinach and kale can be continually harvested if you make sure to only harvest from the older, lower leaves and those on the outside of the plant. And while lettuce or spinach may die when the weather warms, kale, collards, and Swiss chard will keep growing. If you want to keep them growing over the summer, wait to eat them until fall so that you can avoid bitter leaves in the summer. And don't forget your broccoli, which can produce smaller, harvestable heads from side shoots if you let the plant continue to grow. Most vegetables are best when harvested early in the morning. We can't always get to the garden first thing, but we can do our best to protect freshly picked produce by keeping it out of direct sunlight and cooling it as soon as possible to slow degradation and maintain freshness. And when you can, it's best to harvest when cool and dry. It is important to be gentle to both the plant and the produce when harvesting. Bruising and wounds will cause the plant matter to break down quicker, not to mention create the potential for contamination. Use harvesting implements, such as scissors, pruners, or a knife when harvesting in the garden. Avoid pulling or tearing where possible so that your plant will continue to grow. What should you do with your freshly picked produce? Proper storage is important for keeping your vegetables fresh and tasty for as long as possible. Remember, harvested vegetables are plant tissue. Take a look at some of the resources provided in this module to learn what your vegetables need to last for the longest time in storage. Keep in mind that humidity matters too, so do your best with what you have available. Sometimes we are overzealous when it comes to planning the summer garden, and we end up with a bunch of extra produce. What can you do with surplus goods from the garden? Share your produce with family, neighbors, friends, or a local food shelf. A fresh picked tomato is sure to be warmly received. Furthermore, the University of Minnesota has great resources on not only preserving the summer bounty, but recipes and ideas for cooking from the garden. Check out the links in this module to learn how to properly preserve the summer harvest and fully enjoy your hard work.